Hello, love. How are you? So, looks like I'm going to be doing videos. I know. We do what we must. So what I'm going to try to do is just, address anything that needs, I think, further clarification after listening to a previous video. Try to correct any mistakes, anything where I misspoke or um, didn't quite use the right terminology, and then we'll just go from there. Um, so, yes, this is a low skill, low budget video production over here. So, I apologize for the wind. Snoring was the least of my concern, was it not? Sorry about all the wind, but wasn't much I could do about that. It made for a pretty video with the clouds blowing away, the sun being revealed and all. So, we take the bad with the good with the bad. Um, so when I spoke before, I talked about what I thought was going on with the universe and how that bigger plan fits in with all the human madness that's going on. And I was talking about how humanity has settled out into these three groups. And in explaining the groups, I talked about how the karma or the energy is only going to increase. And so, in explaining the groups, I sort of got away from a major part of what I wanted to share. So, I wanted to pick up there. So we have these three groups. We have the good intention folks, we have the unaware folks who are just doing what the system would have them do, and then we have the ill intentioned folks. And so the reason why I said that the energy is only going to increase is because now we've settled out into these three different groups, whereas previous it was just humanity. And so, because all of humanity was involved in an oppressive system, the energy on the earth was depressed, I would say. But through social media, through sacrifice, these three groups are now split. And so, the karma of the people, of the good intentioned people, is no longer weighed down by the karma of ill intended and unaware folk. And so now their good karma can continue to increase and elevate. So, karma. When I talk about karma, I'm talking about actionable conscience, right? So, there is knowing better and then there is doing better. And so, when we do better, that's a higher level of consciousness than just knowing what is better and either continuing to go along with something that we know is not right or willfully doing something purely because it benefits us at the expense of others. um, and so the karmas of a segment of ill-intentioned folks is so low that those folks likely will not be able to recover before that culminating event that I described. I don't know when that event is going to occur. It's all, trying to piece things together in speculation. Um, but as I said before, I think, the groups really split out, a month, 2 months ago. And now I believe it's, as I said before, we're just trying to heighten the awareness of those who may just simply be going along with what the system would have them do because that's what they're conditioned to, that's what they've been taught. And again, the universe is allowing the level of madness that occurs to occur because it makes it very hard to continue to be unaware, to not, begin to question if there isn't something more fundamentally wrong with the system that folks are living in. So, um, you know, my prediction about the culminating event occurring around the presidential election, again, it's just an educated guess. I think the point is that the life giver has given this amazing gift to all living things on earth. I believe that this concept, this idea of heaven exists on earth. And so you have to imagine that the life giver wants all of his children to experience heaven. And so I think the mission and the goal, of course, has been to get us into the fourth world. And then it's for as many of the life giver's children as possible to experience heaven. Even if folks don't get to stay, I believe the life giver wants all of his children to experience heaven. And so I hesitate when I talk about those ill intentioned folk who are going to experience, I think, what essentially would satisfy the concept that we've been living with of what hell will be like. But I think, again, the pace and the timing of how all of this has occurred is so that, um, if, I think, and this may just be me, but I think it would be an amazing accomplishment for us as a humanity if we can get one of those people on the lowest level of the stratification of humanity on earth. One of those people whose level of consciousness has been so depressed by their cognitive ability to believe in concepts and lies such that they continue to be able to do the ugly things that they're doing despite a consciousness that exists within them, um, that is one with the knowing that those things are not right and not in keeping with the ultimate goal of the life giver. And so, if we could have one of those people get to a place where they experience even a little bit of heaven, I think that would be an amazing human accomplishment. And I think that's what all of this sacrifice has been about. There's been much sacrifice, and that's, that karma and that purpose that I spoke of in the last video. There are some folks who come here and their purpose is to teach us, to enlighten us, to be a symbol, to be a model. And the life giver knows that those souls are going to be taken from us in a way that feels too soon. And it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice, but it's all so that we can have the grace and the accountability necessary to come in balance with Earth like we've been in balance with Earth before. But we've come into this human form, which is such an amazing gift. And it's the gift of the curse of coming into this body with this big brain. We have the capacity to create concepts and ideas that take us away from our spiritual knowing. And so this is just a process we had to go through to get to the place where we can experience that, know the ugliness that we're capable of, and turn it around. And so this is a process. And so the mission the mission is to have as many souls as possible to experience Earth. And then, and I think these things begin to happen simultaneously, then it's about us understanding the full potential of what it is to be human. And so, my challenge to particularly Generation X equals hip hop, our generational older brothers and sisters, our generational younger brothers and sisters, we have an understanding of what it is to be a part of this system, and we have a sense of what our ancestors endured. And so the greatest responsibility, I believe, falls on us to make sure that the stories are told, um, to ensure that those things never occur again, and we have the strength to have done what we've done. And so we set the foundation for what humanity is capable of. And so the higher that we set that foundation, the further the future generations can go into the stratosphere to see just what we're capable of as human beings when we're doing this the way that the life giver intended. And so, it's so important that people really, this is not about any standard that a trick can give you. This is about your journey on the path of love, your surrender, that journey in surrender, to the life giver, to really understand who you are, what your contribution to humanity is, and to maximize that to the full extent of your capability. And so your karma is your karma now, right? And so the with the groups being split the way that they are, you're not, your karma isn't falsely disguised by the good intention of others. Your good intention is not depressed by your association with something that's ugly and wrong. The sacrifices have been made, and now your karma is your karma. And so it's where is your place in the stratification of the fourth world once this culminating event occurs, because that's going to then dictate, um, your blessings going forward, and it's going to, dictate your debt that will have to be paid moving forward. So it's like, the better position you can get in before that culminating event, because I think it's just going to be that much harder to, uh, get into the loving system if at that culminating event you're not a part of it. So it's like, getting your ticket ahead of time. The cost is going to be less than if you trying to get your ticket at the door, right? So, I encourage folks to deal with reality, deal with the truth. You've been given great grace to voluntarily show contrition, because the United Divided States has been lying. European males have been lying to the rest of humanity about who they are and who we all are. And so that needs to be rectified, before this culminating event occurs. And, I ain't been good at predicting that one at all. So I can't say when exactly it's going to occur, but it will happen one day. Cause I ain't here for nothing. And this shit don't sit well with me at all. I'm watching, folks going to the No Kings rally in the place where I be at. And, it's irritating. It's annoying because, folks need to take responsibility for what they did. Because you either sat by knowing people was going to vote for a sadistic idiot or you voted for a sadistic idiot because that bitch did not become president of the United States by accident. And so you can do all the marches and protests you want, but until you take responsibility for what you did, because this motherfucker didn't have to have an influence and an ability to affect hundreds of millions of people. You allowed that to happen. So European folks, y'all need to get your shit together. Quit playing. Tell the truth. But, that's your choice. And you will be held accountable. Believe that. So hopefully y'all did your homework assignments and you got a little more insight into the vastness of life on Earth. Um, and so you learned about the domains, and then of course you have the various kingdoms. And so the next homework assignment is look at, pick 3 kingdoms and see how long those living beings have existed on Earth. Okay. We're the new kids on the block. And so it is for us. We have much to learn and understand. This has been a process of learning and understanding. And so, let us move forward so that we can take our place in the taxonomy of life the way I believe the life giver intended. And if you look at it, if you look at our abilities compared to the other animals, I think I'm on to something. I wanted to correct when I said animals, I meant mammals. We're one of only a few mammals on land that do not have fur or much hair. So I wanted to make that correction. Um, and so last video was quite windy when I got to the part where I talked about me ending every video with who do I belong to? And so, just to reiterate, when I say who do I belong to, I want you to say me. And it's important that you say it out loud. Don't just say it in your brain. I want you to say it out loud. Okay? Are you ready? Who do I belong to? Okay, that was better. That was good. But I want you to say it like you mean it. I want you to know and understand that this is real. This is happening. This is why I'm here. And so you can say it with confidence. It's okay. It's all right. Okay. So we're gonna try it one more again. Who do I belong to? That's right. I love you. Bye bye.